Hello, everyone. You are live with Johnathan Maness, aka the One-Leg Bandit. It is Friday. It's Friday Fun Day, and it's time to relax. We've had a successful week. 3-1 federal contracts here at Maness Veteran Medical, and sometimes, you just got to kick back and have a nice glass of wine. And luckily, today I have Marleah Alpers here with me today. I'm about to bring her in. She's going to tell us all about the wines of the season right now. What's tasting good, and how to get really good wines for a very affordable price. So everybody, thank you for being here. I want you to share this out, and let's all say hello to Marleah.
Hey, Marleah. Hey, everybody. It's Friday.
Yes, it is.
Cheers. Cheers to you.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. And if you don't mind, tell everyone what's been going on with you for the last month. It's been about a month or two since we've talked, and what type of things you have going on there on your end.
Well, if everyone remembered from last time, I'm a director and one of the Founders Club members with Scout and Cellar. And it's been a really fun, busy wine season in the summer. Wine pairs with everything, so we're lucky for that. But we do 50% of our entire annual sales in the last quarter. So we are gearing up for a very busy and exciting fourth quarter. August is the company's birthday, which is really exciting. We just turned 4. We turn 4 next weekend. And, it's funny, when this company was launched, our 5-year goal was $20 million in sales. And we hit that in the first 8 months of the company. So we have doubled that year after year. We hit 40 million at the end of our second year. We hit 78 million at the end of 2020. So we are very excited about what's in store by the end of 2021. So it's a birthday month. We've got a lot of fun things going on, including a wine sale that ends tonight at midnight that I'm pretty excited. I've brought some wine to kind of share some of our sale wines with you guys today.
Outstanding. And look, everyone, I'm going to put this on the bottom and let you know how to order from Marleah. But as she said, she's having a 30% off sale till midnight tonight, and you can order now. And right here, I'm going to leave this up so it will show you how to go to and order. And Marleah, you can go ahead and tell folks exactly how to get the wines as you roll through here. Okay.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so all of our wines come from boutique vineyards from around the world. We team up with small farmers, a lot of family farms, and we bring those wines through our website. All of our wines are lab tested twice to ensure they're completely clean crafted. And what that means is that there are no additives or chemicals or preservatives in any process from grape to glass. That is, no added sugars, no added dyes or preservatives, no pesticides on the grape. So the farmers that we come into contact with, they go through a lot of hoops to be able to be Scout and Cellar branded wines. And we're very, very proud of these farmers and vineyards that we work with to bring these wines to you guys. And our wines are always changing, right? So we're not mass produced. For our wine sale, when you go to my website, there's a link to click that says birthday sale. And there's 30% off, as Johnathan said, of select wines. And it's by state. So you would actually select your state because state liquor laws, different wines are allowed in different states. But I did want to highlight a couple sale wines and then a couple of just my favorite wines that we have right now. So moving into one of our sale wines that's just been so popular is this Mixed Track Rosé. This one is it's a fun label. It's one of our own labels. It's our way of collaborating with some of these small farmers that we've kind of gotten too big for. So now we've gone back and we have just approach them again, and we're like, let's come into collaboration and bring some wines. And we do that under the Mixed Track label. Our founder and CEO of the company, Sarah, she's an attorney, but she is all things music. So this is kind of an ode to her. Every time you purchase a Mixed Track wine, you get a Spotify with a Mixed Track soundtrack on it. But this one is partnering with Etnico Winery. That's in Chile. It's a beautiful winery that we've collaborated with a lot. This rosé is really good. It's on the 30% off sale. Highly recommend this one. That's one of the ones that...
Sometimes when you grow like that, like you said, you got so big, and you do have to circle back and catch the smaller wineries, because that's where some really amazing flavors are at. And I know that you capture that with that one.
Yeah, and what's really exciting is that when we hit that 20 million in sales, that's when our price point was able to drop, right? Because we were able to come into contract with some of these beautiful, beautiful farms where we can now buy their grapes for 3 years or 5 years and commit to them. They commit to us. They are farming all the right ways. Making sure they have no, chemicals on their grapes, making sure they add nothing to their wines. And so that has brought the overall price of our bottles down, which has been very exciting because we are now, marketing to everyone. We're not just marketing to a select few, which is, huge for our business.
And isn't there so much power in enjoying what you do? I know that you love what you're doing out there every day in the same way I feel about what I do, but you love what you're doing. You're able to grow your business and help other people grow. And it's just a great feeling doing that type of work, isn't it?
Well, and it's funny because I have an MBA. My career before this was in the pharmaceutical industry. And I stayed home and raised 3 kids. My husband was in the military, and we moved every couple of years, and it worked for our family for me to raise kids. And we just kept on packing up and moving. When my youngest was going into kindergarten, it was now what, right? So, I haven't used my MBA for several years. I am volunteer of everything. I'm involved in fundraising with my husband's work. I do a lot of stuff with my church. But I was like, okay, now what's it for me, right? So my husband works a lot of hours, so I need a flexible job. I needed a business that I would not miss a soccer game or a spelling bee or I want to drop the kids off at school. I had a post yesterday. I have 3 different kids at 3 different schools. It's just, I'm spending a lot of time in the car, and I needed a business that I could work around my life and not work my life around my business. And so I was reading a book at the time. It was called Redesign Your Life. And it was like, make a list of your passions. And you can guess what my number 1 passion was. It was wine. I studied in Italy. My husband studied in France. We go back to Europe every other year. COVID has kind of messed up some of those plans. I was like, okay, let's see what I can do with wine. Well, I don't have any formal education. I have a bookshelf of books. We research all the time. We travel a lot around it, but I really don't have any kind of formal education about wine. I'm not a sommelier. And so I went to the internet and I was like, how do I find a job in wine? And I Google click, got me to Scout and Cellar. The company was just launched. And that is how I signed up to be an independent wine consultant. And that decision was not a major one. It was like, the worst that can happen, I get some discounted wine, maybe some free wine. The best thing that can happen is I could call this my job. And now fast forward a few years and I'm doing this. I say full-time, but full-time pay, but I do this when I can. I get to be on lives with you. And I feel like, I drink wine and it's, I call it research, and, it's never inappropriate to do your work. So,
no.
So I'm living my best life.
You brought up a major point there. Look, you don't have to know everything to be successful. What it takes to be successful is drive and caring about what you're doing. And that's obviously what you do. You're hustling. You're always taking care of your customers. And whenever they need something, you're there for them. Same way here for Maness Veteran Medical. We're always just trying to listen to the veterans, find out what the veterans need, and get them what they need quicker than everybody else. And, that's the thing about business. And as you continue in the business, you grow to become a professional, and a lot of times you become more knowledgeable than the so-called professionals because you really, really care. So it's enthralling you. But I'm just very, very glad to see. Go ahead.
And you learn from people like you and other leaders, right? So I learn a ton from you, from other leaders on LinkedIn. I read all the books. I have a business coach. I have, like once I decided that this business is going to be my business, I didn't have it all. I don't think I'm a natural leader, but I'm definitely a learned leader. And so there's always information to better yourself. And so that's I'm always a student. And that's kind of how I roll, I guess, with this wine business.
And one thing before we go on to another wine, Marleah, isn't it crazy the amount of power in networking and people and really caring about people? You have to let go sometimes to let other people lead you or, have a lot of faith in giving people a chance. But when you do, I would say 90% of the time it works out, and it works out better, and it moves you in a much more better position than you were yesterday,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I've learned a lot with this business, good stuff and bad stuff. You definitely learn your strengths and weaknesses. But the people, the relationships is probably my favorite part, whether it's the wine business or the team of business partners that I lead or connections on LinkedIn. It's that people relationship. That's, I think, the hardest thing for me with COVID has been just not having as much people contact. But I'm grateful to have these kind of opportunities where I'm still in front of you and connecting with you and your guests.
Well, thank you. Hey, look, speaking of my guests, anybody, if you do happen to have any comments or questions, throw them up there. We can add them to the chat where people can see them, and Marleah can go ahead and answer your questions live here on air. So anything that you have, any questions at all, throw them out there. All right, Marleah, go ahead to the second wine. What you got?
Okay, this next wine I'm going to talk about it's not a sale wine, but it's fantastic. It's been one of my favorite wines that we have right now. Let's see. I can't see with the lighting. I can't. It's the Soleil Vent Homme Vermintino. I don't know if you've heard of Vermintino. I did a post. If people are watching this, I do wine education every Wednesday. So I do a video about whether it's a different varietal, any kind of question you could think about wine. I do a live 2.5 minute video every Wednesday. I just did one on Vermintino because it's not a very familiar grape that people know about, but it's such a good wine, especially in the summer. Vermintino is a type of grape. It's 100% Vermintino. This is a French one. This one is coming from Languedoc, France. If you are a Sauvignon Blanc fan, this one would be a fantastic wine for you. It's very fruity. It's very crisp. When it comes to food pairing, think oysters, think fresh cheeses. That would be where you'd pair this. This vineyard is so beautiful. It is the Soleil Vent Homme translates to sun, wind, and soul. It's this beautiful vineyard. This Vermentino, the grapes were hand harvested from vines planted from over 30 years ago. After harvest, the grapes were pressed, pumped into stainless steel tanks, fermented for 3 months. And so you're left with a really crisp, really fruity wine. It's just a clean tasting wine when it is 90 degrees and you are sipping wine on your porch or at the pool. This one's a really good one. So this one, I highly recommend this one. Again, this one is $24, but we do have quantity discounts. So there's wines on sale and there's wines that are not on sale, but all of them apply to our quantity discounts. 6 bottles, you get 5% off. 12 bottles, you get 10% off. Free shipping after 6 bottles. So you can combine all these discounts, which you can get some pretty amazing wines for kind of grocery store prices, which is really an exciting place to be in when you're in this, good wine business.
Outstanding. So how long does it take from time you order till the wine shows up? What's the shipping time on those?
Well, the 7 to 10 business days. Now, I say that because sometimes you get them in 5 days. I think the official is 7 to 10 business days. I will say Thursday was our biggest day in company history. Will that slow down the warehouse? Maybe. But 7, I usually think a week is pretty good for shipping. We are one of the very few wineries in the United States that actually ship wine in the heat of the summer. So we do have 2-day shipping where we have ice packs, and it's all if you've ever received HelloFresh or some of those boxed meals, all that insulation packaging in the box, all of our wines come with that, with cool packs. And so they'll come to you, the wine's cool to the touch, which is how we can, ship wine in some of this this high heat that we're seeing this summer. So very exciting. Yeah.
So Marleah, what is the best selling wine in the whole catalog?
Oh, I don't know if I know the answer to that. There are definitely different selling high points, right? So we've got some wines that are $16. There's a wine that is from the Bookbinder vineyard. They also produce one of our highest priced wines. They've come in with a like a table wine. We've got a red, a white blend, and a rosé. That $16 price point is really, really popular. When it comes to the red blend of the Bookbinder Apprentice, it tastes more like a $25, $30 bottle. I mean, you'd be blown away to know that it's $16. So that one is a really popular one. My favorite, one of my favorite reds right now is actually on sale. It's the Oso Pardo Tempranillo. It's a Spanish red. It's got a little pepper to it. It's got a little spice to it. It's a really, really good wine. And so, I mean, I guess the best wine is whatever's best for you. People love their rosés. Some people love their sparkling wine. I love really heavy reds, even in the summer. I mean, you can see right now I'm drinking a Cabernet, even here in the heat. I love red wine. So, yeah, so I don't know how to answer your question. They're all good. So
it's all good. You give us some good meat there. So I want to go back a little bit. When did you say that you figured out that you loved wine? Like, when did you know it was a passion of yours?
I was 19 and which that was okay because I was in Italy. I went to school in Italy and that's where I learned about wine, right? So it wasn't like your 19-year-olds that were pounding drinks because whatever. It was 19-year-olds that were sitting to, long 2-hour meals in Italy. I was in a small town. And you actually had a sommelier actually explaining to you about the wines. You watched them open it. They watched it pour. So yeah, that's where I kind of like, wow, I didn't realize how involved wines are, how just being grown in the northern versus the southern regions can really impact the flavor of the grape, how to pair wines. I just really got excited. There's just, wine is a very involved topic. And even when you think you know a lot, you don't even know a little bit when it comes to the world of wine. So I just finished my WSET 1, which is wine and spirit, like an education, which I don't know if I'm going to keep continuing with it, but it is a wine education that has been, again, I think I know a lot about wine. I'm sitting here tasting with these experts and it was like, oh my, like you'd never know it all. It's a very involved, but fun topic to learn about.
One of those topics that you can also just have a good conversation about, no matter where you are and who you're with, whatever family, you can just sit there and talk and chill out like we're doing right now. I mean, Fridays are great days for wine. Help the whole weekend is, but I really appreciate you being here and letting folks know, because one thing that I'm finding out with COVID, everybody's freaking out. Everybody's stressed out. And we all got to just chill out just a little bit. Or, what are we doing? We have to calm down and spend time with our family and just relax. So I think we're helping people here on Friday afternoon just take it down a notch and know where to get some good wine at.
Well, and it's funny, I have an e-commerce wine business. We never predicted something like a pandemic would happen, right, last year. And as many bad things that are associated with it, and it's been terrible, and some people are struggling. Being an e-commerce wine last March was explosive. Like it was, all of a sudden the liquor stores weren't open where I am. The people were afraid to be in their houses, or people didn't want to, or they were afraid to leave their houses, or they didn't want to leave their houses. And all of a sudden I'm trying to, virtual school 3 kids, and I just can't keep up with the volume of wine. And so, being a small startup company, that was a big growing pain for us, because we come in contract with these farmers 18 months in advance, right? So we ordered our wine for summer 2020 with a different world than we actually lived in 2020. So we were running
to fill up one glass and you needed a dump truck load.
I know. People were coming from all over, and not just that, people can launch their own wine businesses. So people were coming from all over the country. Maybe they were, they were working from home, maybe they lost employment, or maybe they had pay cuts, and they were launching wine businesses. Like we had exponential growth in that spring, summer of 2020 with both the business and customers. It was it was a really insane time. I can look back on it now and laugh, but at the time I was like, I was the one freaking out, like you were just talking about. I was like, oh my gosh, how do you do it all? But we got through it.
It's like one of those things whenever you create something and you get your first order and then you wake up the next day and you have 1,000 orders on the floor and you don't know what's going on. So, I mean, I can imagine the explosive growth. I know how me and my wife felt after building up Maness Veteran Medical from nothing. And then we got our first big order, like a real order where you feel like you're doing something in the medical industry. And I mean, it was a party day for us. And, it's just a great feeling. It's a great feeling of success.
And I don't know, like, if my customers know that when while I'm here, the email just showed up in the right corner that I had a couple of new orders since this started. And I don't know if these customers, I need to tell them more. It's just, I get excited every time I hear the little email ching that you got a new order. Like, so we're still small enough that it's so exciting to have new orders. And also, like, it's amazing how networking and word of mouth can grow a business. As I've grown completely organically. I haven't paid for anything. It's just been happy people sharing it with their friends and their network. And, someone sending a text message to a group of friends with my name on it saying they love their wines will result in 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 new customers. It's a very beautiful, it's a very beautiful business to have because, again, back to relationships, these relationships, and I hope I'm doing the same for them and their businesses. You really grow attached to your supporters and you want to support them right back. So,
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I tell you, I just had a thought, but I lost it. But anyway, I'll come back to that. Do you have another wine that you want to go over?
I do. Let's talk about, it's an Italian Montepulciano. Have you heard of that one before?
I have not.
It's an Italian red. It's, it's funny. In Italy, when we were living there, that was what they called the pizza wine. So this is like what you'd pair your pizza, especially if it was like a pizza with like sausage or meat on it. This would be your pairing for it. So Montepulciano is, this particular one is really earthy. It's really bold. Think black cherry, black raspberry. Think of, I said pizza, pasta. This brand is called, or this vineyard is called Che Fico, and it actually translates to how cool. That's how it translates. And it's just a bold blend, or bold. Montepulciano is actually the grape. It's just a bold wine. And I highly recommend it.
I mean, like is
it kind of like what?
A house wine or something,
Yeah, I mean, this one is, I think it's pretty bold, but yeah, so it would be like your everyday. So think of like, in Italy, they have like their table wines or their Tuesday night wines. I think this is kind of what you'd be drinking there. But I remember learning about this when I was, not in a school setting, but when you're sitting there at a pizza place and they have the Montepulciano they bring out to you. And it's a fun one. And again, this is another vineyard that has just been with us since the beginning. And it's very exciting to grow with them. It's very exciting. Even with some of our sales, like we've been able to meet some of the farmers that we have worked with. You get to learn about how we are impacting these small farms that, these contracts with Scout and Cellar and bringing these wines to the States, what that's done for their families, what it's done for their farms. It's very exciting. I'm very proud to represent this brand.
Oh, yeah. And my thought come back to me. The cool thing about our business is both of us, since we started organically like we have, we're not in debt. Most businesses have to take, especially in my industry, they have to take out $1 million or $2 million in loans just to get going. But we built it up piece by piece, person by person. And I know you've done the same thing with your business. You run your business by yourself, or do you have you have a bunch of people underneath you? But what I'm saying is, from when it started, you started yourself, and you didn't have to take out a huge amount of loans. So I
didn't take any money out, and I remember one of the most, and you will relate to this because one of the most brilliant things about this is when you earn that first paycheck, you earned it. Nobody takes anything away from you. Like I was in pharmaceuticals, right? So every time I had great sales, they had great bonuses, but my boss would get promoted, like my territory would just get changed whenever it worked out for him. But, I never really benefited from my sales. Somebody else did. And with here, when you get that first paycheck and you're like, and I don't even remember what the paycheck was. It could have been, $5. Who knows? I sat there and I looked at it. I remember thinking, this is mine. I earned this and now I want it to go up. So now it's my job to figure out how I'm going to make this paycheck go up. And that's how I've done every single month from that point. I was like, okay, I love it's getting bigger. Now what am I going to do this month to make it even bigger? So I'm responsible for my success. And I love that. And I've got people, I got resources to reach out to get help or ask questions. But the harder you work, or I guess the smarter you work, I shouldn't even say harder you work, the smarter you work, being flexible, being coachable, knowing when to ask for help and how, it's just been, it's very exciting because I'm responsible for the success. I can make it better if I put the work in it. I don't know if that makes sense. I can.
Did you see the article this week that the smart or the hardworking folks are really at home working 4 full-time jobs, getting paid about $1 million a year because nobody wants to work? I mean, so people who are hard workers or wants to work are able to take on 4 full-time jobs and make $1 million a year just because they're doing what they're doing. And that also shows the amount of time that is wasted with this corporate type structure of sitting in a cubicle and driving back and forth to work, wasting 4 hours a day. That's ridiculous. People, good leaders like myself and you, we're smartened up. I don't care where you are. If you want to work for me, if you're sitting at your house, I do not care as long as you're doing the mission. And people are smarting up, and I'm very proud of it. Hey, the people that's got 4 full-time jobs right now making $1 million, good for you. Yep. If you bust your butt, go get it, and that's what I'm.
Well, in hard work, I feel like that's kind of we're losing that in a lot of places. So working hard and getting the results from that hard work. So things don't magically happen.
No,
you have to and do the work and put the time in. But then your success and your growth is even that much more beautiful, right? Because you can look back and say, I did that, I worked hard, or, I want to do better and I'm going to work hard to make that happen.
The only thing I regret is and we may have this somewhere, but I hope my wife took a photo of me and my small little desk at my computer, like, how it shows Amazon and all started in a garage and all that. I hope one day I can show that photo of me sitting in that little desk in that little space that we started with, because the growth right now is already amazing, but whenever we get to the end where I want to get to, I want to be taking care of a lot of people. I'd love one day to have, 200 employees, that would be great for me. But you always have to remember where you started. If you don't, you will fail. You will not get to where you want to get to, because it's those first few months, that first few years that get you where you want to go.
And gratitude and being just grateful for who helped you get there, right? So I have just been surrounded and gifted with, first of all, a husband and 3 kids that, I can do these things, do wine tastings all over. I'm getting on a plane in a week to travel for the job. And so I've got a very supportive and excited family where they are as excited as I am for the success, maybe probably more. But I also have customers that have customers that have helped me build this brand, that have shared wines with their friends and handed out business cards and shared my website, LinkedIn. Like there's just, you can look back and just see we started in a little office or in a little basement or wherever it was, but you have this like row of people that have built you up.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting,
Giving you partnerships, like your partnership and my partnerships. Like, I would not be where I am right now if other manufacturers didn't say, you know what, I know you have nothing right now, but I'm going to give you a shot. Because what can I sell without something to sell,
Right.
So they believe in me and they believe in our work ethic. So we'll continue to push that on. Your husband is probably going to be tripping when you get back off this trip because of sitting in car lines, because I experience it every day. He's going to have to do it 3 times. So that's 3 times 45. So he might as well take that week off.
He did. He took off. He took off Friday. So I'm leaving Thursday night. And so he took off Friday because he couldn't figure out how he'd go to work, because it's such a short window by the time you drop off the youngest and then you have to pick up the oldest. So he just, see what I'm saying? I'm so grateful because I've got a husband that's willing to take off vacation day to be, he's a partner in this family, but you know what I'm saying? It's like,
he's happy that you're stacking that cash. When my wife gets paid, I am the happiest person in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's we all work together as a team.
It's funny because when this business first launched, it was, you sit down, your husband, you're like, I think I'm going to launch a wine business, right? I've been mom and wife and we've traveled all over, and he was great. He was like, okay, that sounds about right for you. But it wasn't until you get to that certain point in your business where you're making good money. You see the end, like I see where I want to go, and it got really exciting. And then my family was like all in. So it was, having a supportive network, whether it's family or friends, is just huge when you launch these businesses or you try to go out on your own like this. And I've just been gifted with that for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm having a lot of fun here on Friday. We're about 30 minutes, but do you have anything left that you want to get out there today on this live?
One thing that I've learned with this business is that this business, if anyone's looking for a side business, this business could actually work with all different schedules. 85% of the people I work with have full-time careers, everything from so many attorneys do this with me, financial planners, a lot of teachers, executives. So this is a great side business. If you are a wine lover and you want to have just your own thing, like your own business that you get to build on around your life, let me know, because I do have some opportunities that I can share a little bit. If you want to message me, there's something kind of exciting going on with the birthday month. So reach out if you've ever been interested in being in the wine world. I've got something exciting to share. So that's it. That's a teaser, I guess.
That's a good teaser. So, Marleah, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thanks
I've had
for
a great
having me.
conversation. We've gotten some good information out there. Everybody, review the chat. If you need to get in touch with Marleah, I put everything there where you can get in touch with her. And get the great wines, and also watch her. What's the title on Wednesday? Wine Wednesday.
Wine Wednesday. So if you come follow me or connect with me, and every Wednesday I post something wine education. If you have any questions, then send me a message, because I'm always looking. If you have a question, then somebody else has the same question. So I'm always looking for different things that I'm there to be valuable to you all. So I want to talk about what you guys want to know about.
Well, Marleah, thank you so much for being here. If you would just stay on till I finish up the video,
Sure.
and I'll be right with you, okay?
Thanks.
I am so sorry. Say that again.
Oh, I just said thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. All right. So, everyone, that's Marleah, and it's just been a great conversation today. Thank you so much for spending time here with the One Leg Bandit, Maness Veteran Medical, and thank you to all our supporters and people that watch this. I really appreciate it. We're growing. If you haven't subscribed yet to YouTube, go to Johnathan Maness YouTube. Putting out a lot of good information on cryptocurrency, on anything with the VA, all the top quality products, and we're definitely growing with the VA. Thank you, VA, and thank you to all our veterans for everything that you do. I'm a veteran myself, but thank you for all that you do, and I will always be here fighting for you. So I hope y'all have a wonderful Friday. Spend time with your family, your loved ones, put your arms around them, tell them you love them, and have some fun. I'll holler at y'all later. Thank you.